In my last video, I showed you guys how to make this beautiful paper bag waisted African print skirt. While most of you like the skirt, most of you were asking about the neck piece. So as promised, here is the video of the neck piece. So if you are new here, please subscribe and please do follow me on social media as well. So this is the fabric that I started with. It was 12 by 20 inches. 12 inches long and 20 inches wide. Then I just laid it on top of my lining fabric, and then I cut the same size of lining for the jabot. So in my last jabot video, I didn't line it, so this is just another video to show you how to make it if you plan on lining it. So please correct me if I'm not pronouncing this right. After that, I now pin on all 4 edges of the little piece of fabric. Then I folded it in half. Then I go to the corner and then I start to mark 6 inches from the corner to make that arc shape. Then I just cut it out with a scissors. So before I cut, I also now go on to the longest section of the fabric, and then I start to mark that length, which is basically the longest length that you can get from that side. And then I cut the shape out with my pinking shears, and I also cut the first arc that I made with the pinking shears. So when you open it, it is that shape. Then I just put these little pegs before I went on to sew on the sewing machine, and make sure that the right side of the fabric will be inside. Then I just went ahead and then I stitched, leaving the top part of the fabric open. Then before turning it inside out, I just went on to the corners and then I made those snips so that when I turn it inside out, I won't have any bulky corners.
Here I am, know it's been a while. I was in denial about my love.
And then I just went ahead and turned it inside out, and then I pressed it a little bit to make it flat and easier to work with.
You should go back home, go back home, go back home, go. It's been there all along.
So after turning it now, that's when I now started to now pleat it into the shape that I wanted. And this is the way that I did it. First, by just making a box pleat and then making these knife pleats on the sides. Then I tried to make sure that the pleats were equal, such that the right side pleats and the left side pleats were all equal. Then I would just put pins as I went along.
But I felt that I was further from the truth. In one dark and stormy night, rolling thunder, flashing light, heard a whisper in the night, and it said,
So that is the back and that is the front. Then, so to make the little band for the neck, this is the fabric that I used. I measured how much I would need for my neck, plus minus 3 inches in order for it to fold over, and the width of this was about 3 inches. Then first I just start by folding the edges inwards like that, and then I will now go onto the longer sides and just fold in and also Then I also fold it in half and then I iron it. The resulting width will be about 1 inch. After ironing it now, I will now take it to my little piece of fabric that I pleated, and then I start to insert the fabric inside the band and just putting those pegs to hold it together. Then before I sew, I did a tacking stitch to make sure that everything stays in place. Then I just went ahead and then I stitched it down. So after stitching, now I wanted to make the bow for them, and this was 7 by 6 inches piece of fabric. And then I ironed some interfacing onto it to just give it a little bit of volume and stiffness. The first thing that I do in making a bow is to fold the fabric in half like that, and then I sew 2 lines on the edge, leaving the middle open, and then I now fold it again in half like that, and then I now sew the edges down. I will now use the little space that I left in the middle to turn it inside out, and then I just used my scissors to snip off the corners before turning it inside out. And then I used this little piece of fabric to just bring the bow together, and then I sewed it down. I will now turn the little fabric strip in the middle inside out to make sure that all seams are inside. To attach and then I pinned the bow onto the rest of the neck piece. So now the last part is to insert these press studs on the side. So you have to put it on yourself and then measure like your neck and see and mark where you're going to put the press studs. So I put 2 to make it adjustable, and then I just sew down the press studs, and that is the result. So I'm going to be doing more variations of this. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope that you join me again in my next DIY project.